Welcome to the deep dive. We're really thrilled to have you with us today because we are tackling something that I guarantee you have experienced.
Oh, absolutely. Probably quite recently, too.
Right, yeah, very
Yeah.
recently. I want you to picture this very specific scenario, okay? Your salary just hit your bank account.
The best feeling.
The best feeling. You have your phone in your hand, your banking app is open, and you are staring at that fresh, unspent number.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do, like, in those very first 5 minutes?
That is the ultimate question.
Do you immediately transfer a calculated percentage of it over to a high-yield savings account?
Like a responsible adult?
Right? Or do you innocently open up a shopping app just to browse?
Just looking.
Just looking. Do you suddenly start checking flights to Bali or Paris? Like you're some mysterious heir to a massive fortune.
We've all been there.
Or, and be honest with yourself here, do you pretend to be incredibly financially responsible for about 60 seconds and then immediately order some outrageously expensive takeout because you, quote unquote, earned it?
It is a painfully relatable situation, I mean, truly.
Yeah.
That precise moment, just staring at the screen, perfectly captures the psychological tension we're looking at today.
Totally.
For this deep dive, we're examining a really fascinating transcript from the YouTube channel Speak English with Class.
Great channel.
It really is. The video is titled Save Money or Enjoy.
And our mission today is to completely unpack this internal struggle. We are looking at the universal tug of war between securing financial safety for tomorrow and actually experiencing a little bit of happiness today.
What makes this particular source material so unique is its original intention. I mean, it was actually designed as an English language learning tool.
Right, which is so interesting.
Yeah, yet the factual insights it contains about human psychology, the latent guilt we carry around spending, and our everyday financial blind spots, they're incredibly profound.
They really are.
As we explore the concepts laid out in this transcript, I want you to picture a visual backdrop for our conversation. Imagine a giant, glowing, old-fashioned scale.
Okay, I'm picturing it.
On one side, there is a very sensible, heavy little piggy bank.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side, there is a bright, sparkly party hat.
Oh, I like that.
And every single day, with almost every transaction, we are subconsciously trying to keep that scale from tipping over.
Okay, let's unpack this internal negotiation that happens the exact second we get paid.
It's immediate.
It really is. The creator uses this amazing metaphor that I found so incredibly accurate. They point out that on payday, money isn't just a number on a ledger.
Not at all.
It represents reward, stress relief, future plans, and heavy emotion. And all of that is arriving in your brain at the exact same time.
It's an overload.
A total overload. And because of that, your brain essentially splits into two competing voices.
You suddenly have what the creator calls the accountant in one ear and the party planner in the other.
I love those personas so much.
They're perfect.
The accountant is the one standing there in a, gray suit with a clipboard, aggressively demanding that you think about your retirement, your emergency fund, the roof that might leak next year.
Very serious.
Right. But then the party planner is on the other shoulder whispering, "Take a breath. You worked 60 hours this week. You survived a terrible commute. You deserve to feel good right now."
The problem,
Yeah.
structurally speaking, is that the party planner usually wins that argument.
Almost always.
If we look at the mechanics of why, the party planner simply has a better marketing department and infinitely better timing.
Oh, the timing is key.
They strike when your emotional defenses are down. There's this fascinating phenomena the video describes as the 10 minutes of delusion right after you get paid.
10 minutes of delusion.
Yes. For a brief, shining window, you are utterly convinced that you have transformed into a newly disciplined, financially impenetrable version of yourself.
It is so true. You sit there thinking, this month is different. I have a color-coded spreadsheet. I am meal prepping. I am basically a Wall Street tycoon now.
And then reality hits.
Oh, and then, as the video so perfectly illustrates, you wake up on Friday, you somehow ordered premium sushi twice, and a massive box containing a random decorative lamp just arrived at your front door.
The lamp.
Yeah, I have to ask about that specific detail, though. I noticed the creator specifically mentioned buying a random lamp. Why a lamp? That seemed oddly specific to me.
It's a brilliant detail because it highlights a very real psychological truth about how we shop.
Okay.
The transcript suggests that random home items like a lamp or a throw pillow or a weird kitchen gadget magically appear in our shopping carts when our emotions are the ones driving the car, not our logic.
Oh, wow.
We buy things for our environment when we're trying to establish a feeling of control or comfort.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. You feel out of control at work, so you try to control your living room lighting.
Exactly.
But it also brings up a glaring contradiction. If we know we shouldn't make these impulse purchases,
Right.
if we are generally smart, rational people who understand math, why do we consistently fall for the party planner's pitch?
What's fascinating here is the underlying mechanism of that failure. The creator explicitly addresses this paradox. Being highly intelligent or mathematically gifted does not stop you from being exhausted.
Oh.
That's a great point.
Intelligence does not insulate you from the physical reality of a stressful day.
So we're just making bad choices because our brains are essentially out of battery.
Precisely. In those moments of impulse purchasing, you have to realize that you aren't actually evaluating the utility of a physical object.
You're not thinking about the lamp as a lamp?
No, you aren't genuinely assessing whether you need a new lamp or a third pair of running shoes or an artisanal pizza. You are buying relief.
Buying relief. You are swiping your card to purchase 10 minutes of biochemical relief from a stressful, demanding life.
Wow.
And when you utilize money as an emotional pacifier, it creates what the creator accurately calls a toxic relationship between present you and future you.
Present you and future you.
Yes, present you gets the quick dopamine hit of clicking buy, and future you wakes up the next morning, looks at the diminished account balance, and has to deal with the very real consequences.
The mental gymnastics we perform to handle the guilt of those impulse purchases might be the most entertaining part of this whole dynamic.
Oh, it's incredible.
We almost never admit to ourselves, I was sad, so I bought a thing. We buy the item first, acting entirely on emotion, and then we desperately try to construct a logical argument to justify the expense after the fact.
It is a classic case of cognitive dissonance. The emotional decision is made instantly, but our ego needs to believe we are rational actors.
Right.
So the logical justification is retroactively engineered to protect our self-image.
When they talked about justifying the expense, it hit a little too close to home for me.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely bought a ridiculously expensive espresso machine last year.
Yeah.
I didn't tell myself I was buying it because it looked cool and I wanted fancy lattes. I convinced myself it was an investment in my daily productivity.
Of course you did.
Spoiler alert, I just really wanted the fancy coffee.
Naturally.
The transcript has other great examples, too. That incredibly expensive new jacket you bought isn't fashion, obviously. It is for networking.
Obviously.
And my absolute personal favorite, ordering that massive overpriced dessert after a long day, isn't a lax in your diet, it's emotional recovery.
Emotional recovery. I love that. We
Yeah.
all have our own version of classifying a luxury as a medical or professional necessity.
We really do.
But this gets to the absolute core struggle of what behavioral psychologists call delayed gratification. This is the practice of intentionally resisting a smaller immediate reward, like that espresso machine today, in order to receive a much larger or more enduring reward later, like a debt-free vacation next year.
I hear that, but practically speaking, when you've just dealt with a screaming toddler or a micromanaging boss, how do you actually stop present you from taking over?
It's tough.
Present you seems to have a lot more leverage.
Present you has all the leverage, because present you is experiencing the discomfort right now. Future you is just an abstract concept.
Just a stranger.
Exactly, a stranger living in a hypothetical tomorrow. Present you is standing at the checkout counter, feeling the stress in your shoulders, arguing very persuasively that future you is simply asking for way too much sacrifice.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because if we shift our focus back to the accountant side of the brain, the creator completely reframes how we should look at the concept of saving money.
Yes.
Let's be honest, saving has a terrible marketing problem.
It really does.
It is usually viewed as a punishment. It's restriction. It's the boring alternative to having fun. But the transcript moves it away from this idea of boring restriction and turns it into something vital by introducing the concept of the premium stress package.
The premium stress package is an incredibly evocative phrase. It describes the reality that life rarely sends you just one manageable problem at a time.
No, never.
Hardships tend to arrive in bundles.
They really do. It's never just a flat tire. It's a flat tire on the exact same week your dog swallows a sock and needs the vet, and you suddenly realize you forgot to pay a massive utility bill.
Right.
You receive the whole bundle all at once.
And that is the exact moment the perception of saving money profoundly shifts. From the outside, on a sunny day when everything is going perfectly fine, a savings account looks remarkably boring. It's just stagnant numbers.
Yeah.
But when life gets messy and that premium stress package inevitably arrives at your door, a financial cushion suddenly feels like oxygen.
I want to linger on that word, oxygen. That changes the entire conversation.
That is.
It isn't about hoarding wealth. It's about breathing room.
It is about cognitive protection. When you have that financial cushion, it protects your brain's ability to function.
How so?
Without it, a bundled emergency forces your brain into a panic-driven, lizard brain survival mode. You can't think strategically, you can only react to the immediate threat.
You're just putting out fires.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Having savings gives you the psychological oxygen to actually navigate the problem logically, rather than operating out of sheer terror.
Which totally validates that old, seemingly tired advice to save for a rainy day. The creator points out that problems do not send a calendar invite.
They don't.
You don't get a notification saying, hey, your transmission will fail next Thursday at 4 p.m. Please plan accordingly. It just happens.
This logically leads us to the concept of living within your means. Now, historically, that phrase can sound very patronizing, almost like a scolding from a stern parent. But the transcript frames it as a boundary for your own mental health. It simply means calibrating your lifestyle to match what your income can actually support without relying on debt.
So if it's that simple, why is it so incredibly hard for people to do right now? The creator points a pretty big finger at social media for this, right?
Social media distorts our baseline reality. It creates a completely artificial standard of what a normal life looks like.
It's toxic. You are scrolling on your phone while eating cereal, and you see an influencer's perfectly curated aesthetic morning routine.
Oh, the morning routines.
They are using a $100 face wash, drinking a $20 smoothie, and wearing a matching designer lounge set. And suddenly you realize their casual Tuesday morning routine costs more than your monthly rent.
And the psychological damage there is that average people end up feeling like they're somehow falling behind.
Right.
Simply because they are comparing their unedited reality to someone else's heavily funded, sponsored fiction. You feel deprived, which wakes up the party planner, who then demands you spend money to catch up.
So if social media makes us feel bad for not spending, it's tempting to just swing the other way, right? To delete the apps, lock up your wallet, and hoard every single penny like a dragon guarding gold.
Sure.
But the transcript actually warned us against that extreme, too. It pushes back on the pure saving mentality.
Yes, because operating at the absolute extreme of restriction has its own set of major pitfalls.
Okay.
If you are entirely focused on the accountant's spreadsheet, and you eliminate all joy in the name of future security, life starts to feel like an endless waiting room.
Because of waiting.
You're just constantly waiting for one day. One day I'll travel. One day I'll go to a nice restaurant.
But one day never actually arrives, and this creates what the creator calls the pattern problem. It's basically the financial version of crash dieting. When people are super strict for weeks, no coffee out, no movies, no fun whatsoever, they inevitably hit a breaking point.
They do.
They get tired, they get resentful, and then they swing violently to the opposite extreme.
They snap. The internal monologue shifts to, I worked too hard to be this miserable. I deserve something.
The party planner strikes back.
With a vengeance. And because they have been operating in a state of extreme deprivation, they don't just buy a coffee. They end up spending a massive amount of money in a single reactionary weekend blowout, completely undoing all the intense saving they just suffered through.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it proves that extreme financial restriction fails for the exact same reasons extreme indulgence fails. Neither is sustainable.
Exactly.
So how do we find the middle ground? The transcript introduces this idea of strategic joy through discretionary spending.
The creator makes a crucial distinction here. Not all spending is equal. Discretionary spending is the money you allocate after your essential survival needs, like rent, groceries, and basic utilities, are covered.
Right.
It is your designated guilt-free fund zone. And within that zone, the video argues that it is perfectly acceptable and even psychologically advisable to splurge occasionally.
I think people get confused by the word splurge. They think it means being reckless.
Right.
But the transcript defines it as intentionally spending more than usual on something you really want, rather than leaking small amounts of money on things you don't care about.
Exactly. But the strategy lies in what you choose to splurge on. The transcript offers very clear advice. Whenever possible, splurge on experiences rather than physical items.
Like taking a trip instead of buying a designer watch.
Yes, because an experience becomes a lasting memory, which fundamentally alters your perspective. You might agonize over the cost of a trip while booking it, worrying that you should be more sensible.
Sure.
But months or even years after you take that trip, you are still drawing joy from the memory. It pays compounding emotional dividends.
Wow, compounding emotional dividends.
Exactly. Whereas if you just buy a random physical item, the thrill of acquisition disappears incredibly fast, and then it just becomes another object in your house gathering dust.
So what does this all mean for us on a daily basis? We understand the psychology, we know we shouldn't swing to extremes, but how do we actually implement this without feeling guilty every single time we swipe a debit card?
Right.
The transcript provides a really fantastic, incredibly practical framework, starting with something it calls the 5-second pause.
It is a remarkably elegant tool.
Mm-hmm.
Before you finalize any non-essential purchase, you force yourself to pause for just 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
And in that brief intentional window, you ask yourself one focusing question. What does this choice support in my life?
What does this support? I love that because it cuts right through the impulse, forces the party planner to actually justify the purchase with logic.
It does.
And the creator has this excellent follow-up framework for evaluating something expensive, like buying a new phone. You are supposed to ask yourself, is this a tool upgrade or a mood upgrade? Break that down for me because that distinction feels really important.
It is a phenomenal diagnostic question. Think about the linguistic root of the word tool. A tool is meant to build something, fix something, or enhance a capability.
Okay.
A tool upgrade fundamentally affects your work, your personal safety, or your tangible productivity. If you are a photographer, buying a better lens is a tool upgrade. It has a tangible return on investment.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. But what is a mood upgrade?
A mood upgrade is when you want the new iPhone 15, even though your iPhone 14 works perfectly fine, simply because the new one comes in titanium and you are bored.
Ouch.
Right. It doesn't build anything new for you. It doesn't make you faster or safer. It is purely an attempt to purchase a new feeling or a fleeting sense of identity because you had a bad Tuesday.
Realizing that distinction during your 5-second pause could honestly save you a tremendous amount of money and future stress.
Absolutely.
And I think that ties directly into another critical economic concept the video brings up, opportunity cost. Now, opportunity cost sounds like something out of a dry college textbook, but the way the transcript applies it to daily life is fascinating.
Opportunity cost is simply the act of weighing the invisible alternatives. Resources, meaning your time and your money, are finite.
Right.
Opportunity cost forces you to understand exactly what you are saying no to the moment you say yes to something else.
Let's use a real example. If I decide to buy a $500 jacket today, the cost isn't just the $500 leaving my bank account.
No, the true opportunity cost is whatever else that $500 could have achieved. If you say yes to the jacket or a string of random online shopping deliveries this month, the opportunity cost might be saying no to a professional coding boot camp you wanted to take next month.
And the transcript highlights that values-based spending, like paying for that coding course or investing in career coaching, might look incredibly expensive and intimidating right now on paper.
Very intimidating.
But the opportunity cost of not learning that new skill could be vastly higher over the course of your entire life. You aren't just losing $500, you might be losing out on a future $5,000 raise.
This raises an important question, though, and I want to pivot slightly because the transcript introduces a crucial layer of empathy that we absolutely must address.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Everything we have discussed so far, tool upgrades, opportunity costs, choosing between a vacation and a designer watch, assumes a certain level of financial privilege. We have to acknowledge that for a lot of people listening, this conversation isn't about lifestyle optimization.
It grounds the entire theory in reality. For many people, there is no debate about where to allocate discretionary funds because there are no discretionary funds. It is strictly about survival. It is about trying to make ends meet.
Making ends meet means your income is exactly equal to, or sometimes less than, your absolute basic living costs.
Right.
There is zero margin for error. When someone is trapped in that situation, the entire save versus enjoy debate shifts radically. The mathematical advice of just save 20% becomes physically impossible.
It really does. And I think there is a lot of shame attached to that, which the transcript tries to dismantle.
Yes.
When you are just trying to survive a brutally hard week, working multiple jobs just to buy groceries, spending $5 on a fancy latte isn't a failure of delayed gratification. It isn't you being irresponsible. It is you buying a tiny, necessary moment of joy just to feel human and keep going.
It is basic psychological maintenance at that point.
Yeah.
The creator emphasizes that the goal of financial reflection isn't to judge yourself or others. It is about building awareness.
Right.
And by the same token, if you are in a survival situation and you can only manage to save a microscopic amount, literally just tossing spare change into a jar, that isn't a failure either.
Okay.
That small saving is still forward momentum. It is progress, and it is something to be genuinely proud of given the circumstances.
It's about making the best choices within your own specific context, not someone else's. And I think that brings us beautifully to the ultimate core takeaway for you, the listener, as you navigate your own finances. The answer to the question, save money or enjoy life, isn't a binary choice. It isn't about letting the accountant completely destroy the party planner, or vice versa.
Definitely not.
And it certainly isn't about copying some internet influencer's unrealistic aesthetic. It is simply about learning how to intelligently protect your future without entirely abandoning the joy of your present.
It is a delicate, ongoing negotiation that you have to manage every single day. But before we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over something that scales this entire psychological concept up to a much larger stage.
Okay.
We've established that our individual daily choices are a constant tug of war between the party planner seeking present relief and the accountant demanding future security. But how might this exact same psychological battle apply to the way entire societies and governments plan for their futures? Are we, as a collective society, also just swiping our credit cards to buy random lamps for immediate emotional relief while completely ignoring the massive premium stress packages headed our way in the coming decades?
Wow. That is definitely something that will change the way you look at the evening news or the next time you open your banking app. Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it gave you some clarity on your own financial tug of war. Stay curious, keep seeking out those aha moments, and we will catch you next time.